Hey everyone, welcome to episode 4 of Qore. I'm your host, Veronica Belmont, and this month we have a whole variety of gaming goodness for the PS3. This is a big day for gamers. Little Big Planet is coming soon, and to celebrate, we're giving you an exclusive Little Big Planet theme, which should go nicely with our in-depth coverage of our new favorite game. Well, that we don't own yet. The Prince of Persia is back with a whole new storyline, new art style, and a very special lady friend. And no, we don't mean Audrey Cleo. And then we've got a little game you may have heard of called BioShock. Well, the Thinking Man's shooter is here for the PS3, as well as all the trophies that come with it. Finally, we take a look at MotorStorm Pacific Rift, and we'll even let you get your hands on the wheel. Coming soon to this episode of Qore is a playable demo of this jungle-shredding off-road racer. Plus, we've got some mini-games, image galleries, and our brand new Blu-ray release roundup, so pick up your controller and dive right in. I'll see you on the inside. Where are you? We're here today with Alex Evans, who's a co-founder of Media Molecule, of course, making the much anticipated, highly buzzed, super excited about Little Big Planet.
Sure, thanks.
So thank you for bringing it into the world, because I can't wait to get my hands on it. But of course, it is really anticipated, but I don't think a lot of people know really the nuts and bolts of how the gameplay works and what it's really about on kind of like a molecular level.
Yeah, sure. What I think is that when you first get the game, it's just, think of it like a really fun, almost traditional game, right? So you can play with this character, it's just enjoyable. And if you're, for example, a real gamer, then there's loads of like secrets and replayable value there. But I think what makes it really unique is that every level that you play on the Blu-ray is inspiration for stuff that you can create yourself. And really, people ask lots of detailed questions, but really anything you've ever seen in any screenshot or any video that you see today, you can make as well. It's really easy to get your own images into the game, whether it's for the environment or even for your character. So if you have a PlayStation Eye plugged in, then I can just come in here and check out my stickers and decorations. These are the ones that I've collected by playing the game. So the reward for playing through the pre-made levels is items for your inventory. I've got tons here, but actually you get a live feed. So maybe you want to smile into the, let me just frame it here. Beautiful. And 3, 2, 1. And that's stamped down onto the world. But what's really cool is that any picture that you take is framed forevermore. So we have this picture of you. But what's cool is that I can maybe put that onto my character.
So where did this level come from?
So this level was actually one that we just jumped into. It was made by one of the beta testers.
I have to say it's vaguely creepy to see my smiling face in the middle of this level.
It is cool. I'm imagining that people will find all sorts of uses, and you don't just have to put in images of yourself. You could like recreate your bedroom, for example, or if you've got like a cool thing you've got on your like school bag, or if you've made some artwork or something, you can actually bring it into the level and use it as part of the architecture of your level.
The game isn't really just about sticking stickers on things. I mean, you can make your own objects, right?
Absolutely. So, I mean, the stickers we make available at all times, so that's maybe why a lot of people have seen that stuff. But also you can create full objects, entire levels. So we can bring quite complicated creations to life, whether it's just a pile of blocks or whether it's like quite a complicated machinery. Actually, our level designers have built entire bosses that you can play in the game, and they're literally constructed out of hundreds and hundreds of little tiny joints and switches and proximity sensors, all built in the game tools. And I'm really hoping to see some incredible like characters and objects, and yeah, anything you see in the game you can make.
The game is obviously very original. How did you guys come up with this idea? What's kind of your MO behind the design?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of fighting actually. There's a small group of us. Really what we try and do is get people really into the particular bit they're working on. And when we started, we were thinking we wanted to do a game about jamming. You know that feeling where you put like a bunch of friends in a garage band and you're just playing, not really for any reason other than the fact it's enjoyable to make music with friends. And we're like, well, how can we make that more general so even people who don't feel that they're musical can get that idea of jamming on a console? And at the core of it, we were just like, every decision we made is like, is it fun to create stuff? Could we go back to that idea of jamming? Is it like, if it's too hard and too techy, then that's not what we want. But we want still people to be able to get better and better and better. So if you really practice, if you spend the hours, you can become a real expert at this and create incredible things, I hope.
One thing that I'm very excited about is the social networking aspect of the game, and I don't think a lot of people have gone into that. So how does that work? Does it work with stuff online as well?
We've tried to take the best bits, if you like, of social networking sites on the web and really apply a sort of console feel to it, like very visual. And one of my favorite things is that we link the community together with images and screenshots, because after all, you're playing the game, and we can capture moments that you've really enjoyed. We can follow PSN IDs and basically provide feeds so that if you've created something amazing, you'll get a rich feeling of who's playing it, which characters people have gone in and enjoyed it.
Well, I think everyone's very much looking forward to playing the game when it comes out. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Not at all, it was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Can I play?
Sure, go ahead.
We had a chance to talk with Alex Evans of Media Molecule to learn about kind of the origins of Little Big Planet and how it all came to be. And now we're here with Kyle Schubel, who's a managing producer on the game. Thank you very much for being here.
Glad to be here.
So it's the kind of game where you can either spend 5 minutes and make kind of a decent level, or you can spend many, many hours.
Absolutely. I mean, you really get out of it what you put into it. I mean, if I wanted to make a quick little level, I could make it as ugly as anything you can think of, and it'll still be fun. But if you want to spend the extra time to really invest in making it pretty, you can make it something that people are going to really want to download and play.
What kind of time investment are we talking for a big level?
For about 10 minutes of gameplay, you could probably invest anywhere from 7 to 8 hours.
Well, I don't have that kind of time, so can we work on something a little faster?
I think we can definitely do that.
Nice, excellent. We're joined now by Eric Fong, who's the associate producer on Little Big Planet, and he's going to be driving while we take a look at the game here with Kyle. And so my first question, though, is what's with the thermometer on the side?
Oh, the thermometer is going to be how you keep track of, well, how big your level's getting in memory. So this way you've got a very easy representation of how far you can go and how crazy you want to get with your level.
I heard that you guys have a little something to show us.
Well, we thought we would go ahead and put something together here for you guys. So, a little truck that Eric built. You mentioned that you like cats, right?
I do like cats.
Okay.
Are we going to make a Meow-mobile?
Hey, there we go. We might need to go and coin that phrase. I like it. Hold on. Keep it. Save it. So, as you can see, you've got pretty much infinite possibilities. This gets into what we were talking about before about how much do you want to spruce things up? How creative do you want to be? We can make the truck that just works, but now we can actually personalize it and make it something people will remember. And that gets into the whole share aspect where people are going to be downloading and commenting, and you want people to...
Because who wouldn't want this marvel of technology and design?
And we're flying. Whoa! Oh, this is going to hurt. Oh, thank goodness. Whew, roll bar saved my life. People wonder why those things are there.
Here's a level that we made in about 10 minutes of time. And, can I control one of the guys?
Absolutely. Okay, so jump in R1.
Ah!
Oh, very close. So we've got a little bit more fire here, but me staring down at you.
It's the horrible Kyle face of doom.
Yes, apparently I need my teeth brushed, so try and grab onto that. Oh,
ow,
ow. But as you can see, you can create your levels as difficult as you want or as easy as you want. And obviously we didn't spend too much time sprucing this up, but making a series of obstacles, and then we can grab and copy and paste. So if you wanted to make ever more difficult swing puzzles, you could actually grab that and copy and paste it in seconds, and then we can actually build up your level from that. If you can play this game and not smile while doing it, we've done something wrong.
Well, I think I'm going to be spending endless hours not only playing, but creating this stuff, because that's half the fun, for sure.
Absolutely. And then seeing what everyone else does, and it's just this perpetuating cycle.
We're here with Felice Standiford, who's a senior producer on MotorStorm Pacific Rift. And for those who didn't play the original version, can you give us a brief synopsis of the game?
A brief synopsis, it's off-road racing. It's brutal, first man to the finish line, you know, lots of fun, deforming terrain, so it's all out fun.
What's different in this version from the original? What have you added?
We've added some new features, increased the number of tracks, we've added a new vehicle class, we've added some more shoving and pushing for the whole mayhem to go through the races, and we've taken you to a new location.
What's the new location?
New location is Pacific Rift. We've taken you to the islands.
So how many people are going to be able to play at home versus online?
At home, you can play up to 4 players, split screen, so lots of family fun and your friends in the same room. And then online, you can play up to 16 players.
Now, this game isn't exactly a simulator, but it's also not like frickin' Crazy Taxi or anything. What different elements of different kinds of game styles have you kind of combined to make this really unique game?
Well, MotorStorm Pacific Rift strikes a perfect balance of simulation as well as arcade experience. And what I mean by that is, from a simulation standpoint, you've got 8 different vehicle classes where you can get in and race. And when you start racing, it feels pretty realistic. It feels good. When you transition into your jumps, into the brutal crashes, it really turns arcadey and Hollywood style with the visceral crashes and the intensity and the blow-up.
Now, I've heard that you can really affect the terrain around you. How will that affect the race?
Interactive vegetation and terrain is going to be a big part to the strategy. For the large vehicles running through the muddy section of the tracks, there's going to be track deformation, meaning that the tracks are going to change. The larger tires are going to roll through the muddy tracks and create havoc for the smaller bikes and ATVs trying to plow through. Immovable objects, there'll be bridges that'll be able to be taken out by the larger vehicles. The thick vegetation of the grass, all of those elements will come into play as far as destruction, track deformation, so that no lap is the same.
There was a really good reaction from the general public about the game when it first came out. What input from the fans have you taken into this new version?
We've definitely taken the user input in adding the split screen. That was a big, one of our biggest things we got from our consumers. We've increased the number of tracks. They wanted more, assets in there. We added a vehicle class. We've also added some more terrain. We've introduced water this time. So we definitely kept in the terrain deformation. That was a huge plus for our players as well.
Everyone loves downloadable content these days. What are you guys going to be offering for MotorStorm?
We have some tracks planned, we have some vehicles and some vehicle skins planned, but we definitely have some offerings for our users as the game is out.
Offerings, eh? Any details?
No, we want to leave some things as a surprise.
Curses! That's all right. When's the game coming out?
This fall.
I'm with Ben Mattis, the man at the helm of it all. Now, you have had a lot of success with the PS2, with previous versions of the game. Why the reboot?
We rebooted because we wanted to maintain the leadership position in the action-adventure genre. And it was our belief 3 years ago when we started working on this new Prince of Persia that if we were to just do a continuation of the Sands of Time trilogy, Prince of Persia 4, if you will, on next gen, it wouldn't be doing justice to the brand, and it would be giving too much opportunity to the competition. So we wanted to jump in a big way, hit next gen with a splash, and really reestablish ourselves as, the king of the action-adventure genre.
About the world they are in and what's happening, what can you tell me about that?
Ahriman, this evil god, he's corrupted everything. So the world they're in is a subset of the actual planet Earth. We call it the Walled Garden, the Garden of Eden, whatever you want to call it. It's a magical subset of the world that's been isolated from the rest of the world, and nary the two shall meet. You're not supposed to be able to get in, you're not supposed to be able to get out. But of course, fate has it that the prince sort of stumbled into this thing, and suddenly here he is wrapped up into this event. Ahriman escapes, and so this walled garden is corrupted, and the walls of the garden, the magical barrier, will eventually come tumbling down, and Ahriman will escape and infect the whole world. So the prince and Elika are kind of racing against the clock, because they need to restore the life and light within this walled garden before he eventually spreads over the entire world.
And there's the tree of life.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So the Tree of Life is the prison that Ahriman has been in for millennia. Okay. And it is that prison that, through various events that we're not talking about, come tumbling down, allowing him to escape infecting this Garden of Eden. The quest that you're on in the game is Elika's. She enlists your help. As you know, the prince is not necessarily a princely hero to start with.
No, he's kind of not in that mode. He's kind of in the booze and babes mode, I think, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So, as the game progresses, he evolves towards the more heroic prince that we all know and love because of the situation that he's presented by Elika, right. Which is the world is going to be ruined and destroyed by this evil god Ahriman unless we intervene. Literally every single element of gameplay, Elika has a role. When you're doing acrobatics, she has a role. She helps you navigate your way through the world and decide how to get to where you need to get through the use of her compass power. When you're actually, running and jumping and flipping, she follows right behind you and is able to do cooperative moves with you and allow you to access areas you couldn't access on your own.
Launch date is approaching. What else are you guys doing in terms of wrapping up the game?
Well, the good news is a lot of the game works, and it has for a long time. So a lot of the focus right now is on the last little, fine little details.
Like what?
Oh, there was, something the other day where when the prince, swung off a pole, some of his fingers, would penetrate the pole, and we had collision problems. So we're going through and making sure we don't have too many of those issues.
Right, penetration of the pole, never good.
You don't want to penetrate the pole. That's a horrible thing. So the spit polish is certainly our focus right now.
Awesome. Well, when can gamers get in on the action?
This holiday season.
Just in time for the holiday season. Ben, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, thanks.
This is David, the director of animation. Now, David, how is the art styling animation different from previous versions of the game?
Because of the power of the PlayStation, we can now push the graphics to allow us to create this very illustrative art style. We no longer have to have blocks running around the universe doing what blocks do. We can actually make real people. So Elika's like a real person, the prince is like a real person, and they exist in a real universe. It's all painted, it's all made to look exactly like the concept art. So whereas before we'd take beautiful concept art and we'd make a bunch of boxes that vaguely represent it, now we have the concept art, and that's what you play. It's like a storybook, like you're playing inside a book.
Part of this story is this character, Elika. Let's talk about her styling and her animation specifically.
We wanted to contrast the prince. You take the prince, you say, okay, this guy's gonna be like a sweaty, grunty guy. Whenever he runs, whenever he goes along a wall, he's getting his hands in there, and we wanted to be different. So she doesn't use her hands. She'll just trip along the wall. She's magical, she's light, she's graceful, she doesn't spit, she doesn't sweat, and she doesn't sweat. And the important part is also making sure you care about her because she's the motivation for the story.
Is that why you made her hot? Because you want the...
No, that's an executive committee decision. We send over images and they say we like the hot one, and we're like, well, okay.
There's sort of this watercolor feel to the styling, to the animation. Tell me about that, because it's really unique. It's really gorgeous, actually.
That's the style that's always been in the Prince of Persia. It's just we could never translate it. So the concept art from the previous versions was gorgeous. And the thing was, like I said before, with the box problem was we could never transfer that onto screen. Like our game is essentially, it's using the Assassin's Creed engine. If you stripped away all the stuff that makes it look pretty, you'd be seeing Assassin's Creed. It actually is more expensive for us to make it look like that. So to get this in the game, we had to have the power of the PlayStation.
What do you think users are going to be most excited about in terms of animation in this game?
It's pop, but it's faster. It's the original Prince of Persia. You wall run, you jump, you swing, but it's fast. Like, you're not walking into a level, oh, I've got to go down this ladder and I've got to kill this boss over here and I've got to, swing off that ring and then I'm out of the door and then I'm onto the next level. So you walk into a room and the room's huge and you don't stop. Like, once you start going, and Elika, this is the other thing, Elika the whole time she'll help you out in this game. She's not going to get in the way, she's not going to hinder you, you don't have to carry her, unless we want you to carry her to help the story, but generally speaking, you don't have to worry about it. And whenever you get lost, you just ask for her help because it's her story, it's her quest, it's her land. And she'll just, you go over there. And so you never really have to slow down. And because of the save me aspect of the game, you don't have to worry about dying and, I missed that Sands of Time button, so I'm gonna have to go all the way back to the start of the level. It's like, she just puts you back and you give it another go, and so it's fast.
What finishing touches are you guys still working on?
Everything. Last night I was here till 5 o'clock in the morning, finishing off the starting move for one of the bosses in fight. Today I'm pushing another boss through a destructible object that's going to collapse on him and damage him. It's going to be perfect.
Making it slick, making it quick. Thank you so much, David.
Pleasure.
We're looking forward to it.
They told me, son, you're special. You were born to do great things. You know what? They were right.
BioShock is a much beloved title amongst gamers, and for good reason. We're here at 2K Marin to talk to some of the original development team to find out how they're bringing the genetically enhanced version to the PS3. I'm here with Jordan Thomas, who's the creative director at 2K Marin, and you worked at the Fort Frolic sequence, right? That was your main opus in the original?
Yeah, the player kind of gets captured by this crazy artist, and that's all my fault.
So, BioShock isn't your average first-person shooter. I mean, there's a lot of themes that go on in the game that are brought from like literary references and that kind of thing. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. I mean, at its core, the kind of backstory of BioShock is about this war between ideas or philosophies, and we kind of needed to, like, etch that onto every single wall in the world because the player is this ridiculous whirling dervish that runs around and gets distracted and plays with toys, and so you kind of need at any given moment that they go, all right, I'm going to calm down and look around for a second, that it's teaching them a lesson about the sort of opposing forces of this undersea world. So yeah, so by the end of the game, you kind of hope that the player has learned about who hates whom and why.
There's obviously a lot of issues of morality in the game. You kind of have to decide whether you want to do something and be rewarded immediately or kind of do the right thing and possibly reap the benefits later. What are you guys trying to say with that statement?
Well, it's interesting that you phrase it like that because we're actually not trying to say something specific. We want to ask the player a question and have them give us an interesting answer through their kind of play style. So yeah, like at the core of all this are these little sister characters who are very vulnerable, particularly to a certain kind of interaction, and that the player has to make a choice about whether they, in this new kind of moral context of a decaying, city under the sea, what will they forgive themselves for? What will they let themselves get away with? Because the game doesn't spend a lot of time telling you what to do and what not to do. You really have to make that choice for yourself. And over the course of the game, you make a lot of those kind of sort of micro choices about little sisters, and that kind of plugs into who you are, and the game hopefully responds well to that.
Are we going to see any new alternate endings?
I will say that the story is affected by your ethical decisions.
All right, that was very vague, but that's okay.
I'm excellent at vague.
So BioShock came out last year for the Xbox. What are you guys bringing to the PS3?
Well, PS3 has a few new kind of interesting things. We're kind of calling it the genetically enhanced version, and the idea is that you get to kind of customize the experience a little more. Like there are a lot of tweaks that we made to the Xbox version that are all included by default on PS3. So you can turn off the resurrection stations, which are this sort of very forgiving death models. If you want a really kind of hardcore experience, there's that. And you can also marry that to the survivor mode, which is a new difficulty that we're releasing exclusive for this. And it's kind of like, it makes every single bullet count, every resource that you can pick up through the world matters, and so the player really is kind of scrounging to stay alive.
Either with the gods or against them, I will have my vengeance.